In the city of Capernaum, on the Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue and was teaching. And they were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one who had authority and not as the scribes. And immediately there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit. And he cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying out with a loud voice, came out of him. And they were all amazed, so that they questioned among themselves, saying, "What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." And at once his fame spread everywhere throughout all the surrounding region of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord. My dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, the first reading taken from the book of Samuel tells us that Hannah was deeply distressed and she cried out to the Lord and wept bitterly. There were two specific reasons. One was she was barren, and the other being that she was being ridiculed and provoked by this person, Peninnah, who was also the wife of Elkanah. And it is in this deep distress that she pours out a soul before the Lord. She makes that sorrowful prayer, yet a very profound one. "Lord, if you could only look on the affliction of your servant and grant him the gift of a child, I will dedicate him to you all the days of his life." And at the end of the passage, we have that good news. Yes, the Lord remembered her in her distress and granted her what she wished for, the gift of a child. Now, Hannah represents today all these men and women who perhaps go through similar struggles in life. They're not being understood, they are being ridiculed, they are constantly being provoked, and they have nowhere else to go. And Hannah, who inspires us in today's first reading to go to the Lord. Sometimes it's so very traumatizing to listen to these people who have no gift of children or who have other difficulties in life. And people, instead of understanding them, they constantly try to put them down. They are never a source of help or support to these type of people who are going through distress. But Anna has that focus. She is oriented and she goes to the Lord and she cries out to him bitterly. And there she receives an answer. Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, we need to ask ourselves, what are some of the anxieties at this present time, especially in the wake of this third wave that is threatening us? It is beginning to show its ugly face again. Now, what are some of the challenges that I am personally going through? Or as a family together, the anxiety of losing my job or losing my loved one. There are so many people in the last two waves have lost their near and dear ones, their spouse, their children, their parents, and nobody can fill that vacuum except for the Lord himself. Now, the Lord in the gospel is seen as someone with great authority. He is the living God. Now, can we go to the Lord like Anna and say, "Lord, this is my affliction. Help me, Lord. I have nowhere else to go," like the way St. Peter tells in the Gospel of John, "Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life." Do we believe in that living word? The Lord who says, I have come that you may have life and life in abundance. Do we go to him? He who invites us, telling, come to me, all you who are heavily laden. I will give you rest. Do we go to him? In the midst of all that we go through, we need to continually reflect ourselves. Are we giving in to despair? Do we see God as the last option of my life, or do we give him the first priority? These are some of the questions that I would like to ask you. With the background of Anna, of course, the challenges that we ourselves go through, do we try to grapple these problems with our own limited capacity? Or do we take the help of someone, or first and foremost priority is given to God? The Lord who has authority over all the unclean spirits, he who has the power to heal us, to deliver us from all our distress or sickness, or even this deadly pandemic itself, who has been merciful to us, we need to go to him and seek answers for all that we are going through. My dear brothers and sisters, let us humbly acknowledge that we have sinned and we have fallen short of the glory of God. But yet, as St. Paul continually reminds us, that we have received grace upon grace. If we are alive today, it is because of the Lord's mercy and grace. Let us not forget it, and let us not lose hope, and let us continually come before the Lord, seeking his authority over our lives, and not the worldly powers which can threaten us for a short while, but will not have any power over us, only if we go to the Lord.